This new Girsan from EAA promises to be the thing that all the modern shooters are looking for. It's lightweight, compact, and unlike other high-power clones out there, we have an actual rail. It's optics ready. We've got a fiber optic front sight, ambi extended safeties, flat trigger, nice extended beaver tail that could even mean that my hands are safe shooting a high power. Coming up, you'll see absolute first shots through the gun, full magazine +1. We'll go do what's for dinner to see what it eats, take it over to the spinner for sights and trigger control, do some practical accuracy, and then give you concluding thoughts. All that coming up next on GBGuns. Cold shots are done from 25 yards, as our target camera is showing, on a C-zone piece of steel out there. And for all those wondering or concerned about Turkish-made pistols being only for 124 NATO, got 10 rounds of New Republic 115 grain. If you saw our ammo test series over at GBGunsDepot.com, you know that this stuff is pretty soft. If it doesn't run, I have some Winchester as backup. So nice to be able to reach the slide release on a high power comfortably. That's pretty awesome. Presentation angle is a little more vertical than I was expecting. Hitting a little bit low for some reason, but this is a long distance. Recoil is not shocking or jarring to the hand. The total gun movement, though, is about what you'd expect from a lightweight gun. This thing is absurdly light and comfortable to shoot compared to others of the same platform. Shoots pretty well. I'm feeling a little bit in my wrist, but that may be that I'm out at the end of a long range day. We'll find out more as time goes on. Now for full mag +1 with the 15 rounder. These are Mekgar magazines, but as you may recall from the tabletop, my 13 round Mekgar did not want to fit happily. Since I only have one magazine, that was our +1, and I'll top off the mag again. I will say that loading all 15 rounds in the magazine was not as much of a chore as I felt in other guns. Now to see how it runs, and for me to figure out my aiming point. Looks like a little high and a little right is where I need to aim, but as you saw, no issues with the magazine. Now let's see what the gun eats and what's for dinner. And it's the crowd favorite, what's for dinner time. Thanks to our patrons and Ammo Squared supporters, we've got 50 grain up through 150 grain today. As I go by these, you'll see that the ogives in different locations. We have different case materials, different projectile types. We're testing 3 rounds to see what the gun will eat. Will it feed from slide lock? Is there enough energy and low enough friction to feed a subsequent round? And will it lock open on empty? The third round to reduce variables. Anything past that's testing the mag. If you're curious about trying any of this ammunition yourself, check the pinned comment over at GBGunsDepot.com is the full review of this firearm, as well as links to this ammo where we could find it at the time of writing. What's for dinner is done from 7 yards. We have 2-inch circles. Not a precise aiming point, but gives us a general idea, because really we're looking to see, will the gun eat this stuff? Starting off with our lightest load and my personal carry ammo, Liberty Ammunition Civil Defense 50 grain +P. You want to make sure your earplugs are in good and solid with this stuff. It is loud. I'm going to aim dead center with all of these, see if that shooting error continues. Yep, low left, it's me. But felt very controllable in this thing. It's surprisingly comfortable to shoot for its weight, which is nice. Sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking when handed a gun, like, hey, review this. And sometimes I pick them up, and based on past experiences, I'm like, yeah. Circle number 2, Hornady's Critical Defense Light 100 grain. Funky little round. It looks more like a 380 than a 9mm. so sometimes it chokes guns. Very light in this gun. It's comfy. Nice. I would say the trigger on this is also very comfortable. It's a nice flat blade that fits pretty well. Circle number 3 is Sierra's Sportsmaster 115 grain, not to be confused with the Outdoor Master we recently tested. What's the difference? I don't know, other than grain weight. Circle number 3. There's lots of daylight on this side, between the sights on this, which makes positively identifying your target easy. I see that as a plus. Our third round is the Sig Sauer Elite Defense V-Crown 115 grain. There's the box so you can see the generation. It has changed a little bit over the years. For circle number 4. There we go. Not bad. Next up is some Wolf Steelcase 115 grain. Those regular to the channel know the reason why we use steel and aluminum is because it's affordable stuff. That's why we shoot it, that's why you guys shoot it. However, the friction coefficient between rounds in the magazine can make feeding it an issue, as does the friction going into and out of the chamber. And on top of that, the expansion and contraction rate of the case is different than brass, so some guns choke on it. The hard chrome on this barrel should make it super easy. Circle 5. See me catch that flinch for a good group with cheap ammo. Can be done if the gun's right. I'm noticing while handling this that I think the gun might be a little bit on the small side for my XXL glove hands. If you've got hands smaller than that, it shouldn't be an issue. Blazer Aluminum 115 grain is next for circle 6. No issues. This thing's, for a compact size gun, very nice shooting. I'm feeling something shift a little when I shoot. I haven't figured out what it is yet. Next is Hornady Critical Duty 124 grain, non plus P. But I'm liking it. It's right as I apply trigger pressure. There's a little bit of shifting happening in the gun. But otherwise, comfortable shooter. Circle 8 is going to be the Federal Syntec Synthetic Jacketed Hollow Point 138 grain. This is stuff that breaks apart into 4 pieces and has blue plastic on it. And I was just going to say this stuff tends to be punchier, as you're seeing by the increased muzzle flip. But it runs. The manual just said to stick with SAMI spec ammunition. So far. Remington HTP 147 grain for circle 9. Shot nice. And my hand doesn't hurt yet, unlike other high powers. I'm not getting bit by the hammer. I'm getting a little bit of slam in the hand from the beaver tail, but that's very broad, and that's simply because it's a lightweight gun. It's going to be rocking, and there's no traction on the front strap. Our 10th round is the Federal Syntec Action Pistol 150 grain. Tends to be really soft shooting stuff. I need to get Tia to shoot this one. I think she would enjoy it. couldn't see where I was hitting. Looks like it gripped pretty well. Yeah, there's a weird shifting happening. It doesn't seem to be causing any problems, and some of that factory oil is starting to sweat out. It's a hot day and the gun's getting hot. Next is the spinner test for sights and trigger control. That should be a fun one. That is our Titan Grid Outdoors 6-inch spinner target. I'm standing back here next to the camera at about 13 yards away. Leave you zoomed in. Use this for sights and trigger control because it's a small target at distance. As I hit it, it starts moving. The better I hit it, the more it moves, the more important that a well-placed, well-timed shot becomes if I want to keep the momentum going. Got 8 rounds of that New Republic 115. Let's see how we do here. I'm gonna aim dead center, see if that low issue is still happening. And that hit on the very top. Wow. New record is, it's one of the grip panels coming a little bit loose. Not a big deal. Easy to tighten. Downfall to interchangeable grip panels is they got to be tight. As far as performance on the spinner there, I'm not sure what happened. You know, this front sight post has an angle to it, likely to keep it getting some good air, also to help it last a little bit longer since there's not as much, the back and forth isn't as direct. I don't know if the height is wrong. I did remove the rear plate, but it only fits on once, and for the tabletop, or it only fits on one way, so that's not an issue. It's not loose. I'll have to review the footage. You guys, of course, have already seen it to see where I was actually missing, but that was odd. This will make the next accuracy at a 1-inch square with the same ammunition. Very interesting test. Guess we'll have to see from there. As far as trigger, I felt like the trigger made it easy to time the shots. It's a very comfortable flat blade to tug on, but I don't know what I did wrong there. Keeping it real, no retakes. Practical accuracy is 5 shots from 7 yards at a 1-inch square. It tends to be about the same width at this distance as a front sight post. Using the same ammunition, that New Republic 115 grain. See if I can redeem myself. Curious what happened there. It'll be really interesting to see where this group prints. I'm going to aim at the square and keep the same aiming point the whole time to see what was going on there. Redemption. Proof that when people report bad accuracy, you can't always trust it, because it might have been a bad shooter, it might have been a bad moment. I don't know what happened to me on the spinner there, but that group there, I'm satisfied with. Aftershots with the Girsan, and now I'm not listing out the whole bumbly long list of nomenclature for this specific model because, well, it's all encoded to mention what features are on there. If you want to see this exact model, check the pinned comment for the article over at gbgunsdepot.com. That will have all the details as well as pricing and where you can find this exact SKU. What do I like about it? The same things that I was excited about. It's lightweight, it's compact, higher capacity with a rail and optics ready and fiber optic sights and an improved beaver tail and a flat trigger and G10 grips. This is a 21st century high power in all the ways that you would expect. The trigger isn't anything magical, but it's not bad at all. The only complaint I could have possibly about it would be I wish there was some type of texturing on the front strap here just to help with the gun slipping. That said, I have a very large hands that are barely fitting onto this. Typically, I don't fit onto 15-round guns. That's enhanced by, as you saw on the tabletop, a nice deep cut here and a little toe kick here to allow some pressure to counter the gun's want to flip, especially because it's so lightweight. That said, I'm catching that toe with half of my pinky, not my full pinky, so the gun's able to still rock some, and as a result, the beaver tail did roll and rock against the web of my hand, enough to leave a slight mark, but not any pain, because it's nice and broad and well rounded. I think if I had slightly smaller hands, I wouldn't have that issue at all. Overall, excellent piece. I mean, who would have expected a 1935 high power to run through the What's for Dinner that we did? Wouldn't happen. So they fixed that. The very bright chrome finish that is on all of the barrel certainly helped with feeding, as well as an improved feed ramp and possibly a slightly different magazine design. But they did it. They pulled it off. Good job, Girsan, and thank you, EAA, for importing these. This is a cool piece. It's very much, I don't know if this is a resto mod, which is, you know, when they take like the body of a 65 Mustang and then put fuel injection and rack and pinion and disc brakes and all that, or if this is a new generation production, not the latest EMOC, but a new generation Mustang, because it's still high power and yet it's 21st century and shoots well. Really cool piece. I hope this does well. I enjoyed shooting it, and as if you couldn't tell, I'm tickled that it exists. Like this is a cool piece that I think fans of the original high power will appreciate, or should, and modern shooters who maybe never handled a high power will appreciate as well. There aren't a lot of all metal frame hammer fired guns coming out these days. Everyone likes to go for the less expensive to produce, higher profit margin, polymer frame striker fired guns, whereas this is a classic real gun. Of course, it's not DASA because it's still high power, but cool shooter. And I would say recoil control, aside from slipping on the front here, and once again, that's just my giant hands, is outstanding for a pistol this light. It's about Glock 19 size, and I would argue that this is more pleasurable to shoot than a Glock 19 in many ways. Cool piece. Thanks for watching.